Hey guys, how are you doing? Today I'm here in my basement because I want to build myself a couple of collapsible arrows. And I just find it easier to transport arrows if they are only half in the length. And like this, as you can see, it's pretty long. These ones are 28 inches. And even though they are pretty short, they won't really fit in a backpack, which is small. So yeah, I want to make myself a couple of collapsible arrows to be able to transport them in a smaller backpack as well. So when I go out and I just want to practice archery a little bit, I don't want to have my arrows showing out of the backpack. Alright, so I want to make a collapsible arrow, and first I thought that I just cut the arrows in half and then I take two inserts and glue it into the ends of the shaft, and then I just would connect the arrows with this rod here. So that was my initial idea, but then actually I did a little bit of research, and unfortunately the inserts are a little bit wider than the rod, and that's true for the first half of the insert. So actually if you do it like this, you would have a crooked arrow looking like that after the first shot. And that's not good. So this is not a good solution. So we put away the rod here. Okay, so now how are we going to do this? Let's just put away these inserts because these are the ones that we are using for the tip. So if you want to do it correctly, you have to order special inserts like these here. Alright, so these are the special inserts. I ordered them from eBay.com, and these 12 pieces cost me like $10, so it was not so expensive. Maybe it was $12. And yeah, these are special inserts. So this is one part and this is the second part. Okay, it goes together like this. So here you can see that actually the insert is bigger, and that's really important because now the insert will fit perfectly into the other insert. And you really want to have this thicker part here right after the thread, because otherwise the arrow will make a bend. And with this insert, it will stay straight. So this is the most important thing. You have to get the right inserts. What we do now is I want to cut my arrows in half. So right now we have about 28 inches, a little bit shorter. But I still have to insert the tip and the insert. So it's going to be like 28 1/4, something like this. Okay, so I have made a mark at 37 centimeters or 14.5 inches. And before we do anything else, first I need to take this insulation tape, the electrical tape here, and then I need to cover this part where we want to cut off the arrow, because if you just use the hacksaw like this, you will have a higher risk of splinters breaking off, and then your arrow is damaged. And this is what I do to every arrow. And this is just so important. You don't want to skip this step, okay? You want to wrap your arrow in this electrical tape, and you do it with a lot of pressure so that the arrow holds together. So now let's cut the shaft in two, and you have to make sure that you're cutting really slowly and smoothly. Okay, and that's one. And you gotta know that it's almost impossible to make the perfect cut. So we are going to take this to the sander. Okay, so I'm done with cutting my arrows, and I've sanded them so they are exactly the same height and the same length, as you can see. And the next very important step that we have to do before we glue in the inserts is we take a little bit of sandpaper and then we want to roughen up the inside of the shaft. So for this I'm just taking a small screwdriver and I make sure that I wrap around the sandpaper really tight. And then I insert it into the shaft and I just turn the shaft like so. This way you will roughen up the shaft from the inside. So pretty easy, but you have to do it to all of the ends of the shaft. So here, here and at the tip. Alrighty, so I have sanded all of the shafts at the inside and now it's time to clean them. And for this I'm taking this cotton swab and I just soak it into ethanol. And ethanol is great because it removes all of the dirt and dust, but also, you know, fat, for example. So it's great for cleaning the inside of the shaft. See, that's how much dirt you have inside of your carbon arrow. So I do this to all of the shafts. Oh my god, that's full of dirt. And I will come back to you when I'm done with this. Alrighty, so now it's time to glue in the inserts. And today I want to try out a new glue. Let's see if it's a good one. And this glue is really fast when it comes to hardening, so I want to work fast as well. Okay, I have glued in 6 inserts and the other ones I'm going to keep for the future. And now that this is done, we have to glue in the inserts which are at the front. For gluing in these inserts, I want to use an old tip because then I'm not going to make the new one dirty. Alrighty, so this is it, and now we should be able to connect the arrows. Nice. Look at that. That's a really firm connection here. Doesn't move around. That's really nice. Oh my god, I love it. Look at that. Amazing. Nothing is wiggling around. It's just a very solid connection. But we are not done yet. So now we need the inserts for the very tip. Here it's the same story. I'm going to use the old tip. Screw it in. Clean it off. Then I'm going to use the super glue here and insert it fast. Then clean off the insert. That's it, right? And I'm just doing the same with all of the other arrows here, like we did before. So as you can see, this is really pretty easy. Everyone can do this. It's no big magic trick to glue in some inserts. So this is how the arrows look like right now. So we have this nice connection part and we have an insert at the front. Now for the tip, I usually shoot this one, which is 85 grains. But I believe that this is now too lightweight because actually we have added a lot of weight in the middle of the arrow, which is not so good for the flight of the arrow. So usually you say that most of the weight should be in the very tip, which is good for the arrow flight. So now, gladly, I have a little bit of a heavier tip at home. This is 100 grain, and this is what I want to use for these arrows. And yeah, maybe this tip will also be too lightweight, so maybe I have to switch to 125 grains. But I don't have them at home right now, so now I want to try out the arrows with these tips. Okay, now let's see how the arrow bends under pressure. Okay, so it can still do this, which is great, but it will be stiffer here, so the spine is going to be much harder now. Okay, for the fletching I want to have a natural look, so I have two of these which are really beautiful, and this lighter one as the leading feather, and I think this combination will look really awesome. So now I just take my clamp and I put the feathers into it like this. Okay, then we want to put in our arrow like so. Put some glue on the fletching here and press it down. Now these fletching jigs are made in an angle because then they don't need so much space, but actually it's better to hold it like this because otherwise the glue will run down the shaft and then it's really ugly. So if you hold it like this for a couple of seconds, it's better. Okay, I think the first one sits tight. Now let's take the next one. And this glue here is very quick. It hardens out so quickly, so you really have to do an exact work. And if you don't want to have such a pressure, you can take another one like this one here. This hardens out in about 5 to 10 minutes, so you have a little bit more time to adjust. Okay, the first arrow is almost done. I've decided to use some electrical tape because actually I've ran out of shrinking tube. And this electrical tape is actually my second choice if it comes to protecting the beginning of the fletching. And this is really important because if you're not protecting your fletching like so, you will have your fletching come off with the time. And with a little bit of electrical tape you can, prevent that. Okay, so I've shot this arrow a couple of times now, and the connection is still here, so it's not loose or anything. So as you can see, both of the parts are not making any sound or coming apart, which is a good thing. So pretty awesome. Also, there's no bend in here, and the arrow is in a very good shape. And to disassemble the arrow, you just do this, and then you have your short arrow, which you can put into a smaller day pack, and that's awesome. That's really cool. So the only thing that I want to make myself is some kind of some kind of box where I can put in the arrows and where the fletching is not getting destroyed while transporting them. So I have to find some kind of box or some kind of pipe maybe where I can store the arrows for transport inside of the backpack. Alright guys, so this is how you can make your own collapsible arrow, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, the only thing that you have to consider is that you get these connectors, and you also have to know which size they are in diameter. For example, mine came in the diameter of 0.245, which means they fit these arrows here. But I have other thicknesses of arrows. Let me show you shortly. So here I have more arrows, and this one, for example, by the company Gold Tip, which is a great arrow, is a little bit bigger. So this one is 0.246 inches thick, and it would be too thick for these connectors. So when I was ordering these connectors, I didn't really know the diameter, and then I just tried out which of the arrows it would fit. So then it turned out that they are 2, 4, 5 in size. So make sure that you have these kinds of arrows at home. Okay guys, so I want to thank you for watching. After this video I'm going to complete the fletching on my other 5 arrows, and then I will take these arrows out in another video. Thank you so much, and stay tuned till next time.